This is video 29 for math lesson 3.4, angles. In 4th grade, you learned how to classify angles. So this is mainly a review of those kinds of angles. One kind of angle that we have is a right angle. If you had to describe a right angle, how would you describe it? A right angle looks like this. It is exactly 90 degrees. In your notes, I want you to put, go to your next clean page at the top, write angles or kinds of angles at the top. And let's put right angle in there. So we're going to put down right angle and write the definition. A right angle is an angle that has a measure of 90 degrees. Now, only 90 degrees describes a right angle. It must be exactly 90 degrees. We often see a right angle with a little square over the vertex to show that it has a square angle. Make sure you have this definition copied down before you continue on with the video. We're also going to put acute angle, obtuse angle, and straight angle into your notes. You might even want to put down this picture so you have kind of a visual to look at with it. Okay, so acute angle. An angle with a measure of less than 90 degrees. So an acute angle is going to be anywhere between 0 and 90 degrees. This is just one example of what it might look like. Obtuse angles, an angle with a measure of greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 degrees. So an obtuse angle is going to be somewhere over here in this area. It's going to go beyond 90, more than 90, but not as far as 180, which if we look at our next angle, straight angle, 180 is what our straight angle is. That means if we were to start here on one side and measure the degrees all the way around to the other side, it's 180 degrees, exactly half of a circle. And we know that a circle is 360 degrees. So a straight angle is an angle with a measure of 180 degrees. Make sure you have these definitions copied into your notes before you continue on with the video. Now let's do some practice, okay? Showing acute or obtuse angle. Let's play this obtuse angle and see what we get. Are we supposed to? Looks like a straight angle to me. Oh, maybe we're supposed to pause it. Let's rewind. Okay, let's play it again. Now, if we want to make an obtuse angle, we could pause it anywhere in here. Okay, for example, right there. One way to check to see if you're right is to kind of make that visual of a right angle. Here's our right angle. As long as our obtuse angle is more than that, we know that it's obtuse. Okay, so that looks good. When we make an acute angle, we cannot go as far as 90 degrees. Now, sometimes they're close, and if we take this, kind of line it up here, if I can, you can see that it's very close, but it's not quite straight up and down like a square angle would be. Gotta watch out for those. Those are kind of the trickiest ones. Now let's take a look at these angles and let's label what they are. Okay, I want you to try to think of it in your head before I put the answer down. I'll kind of give a pause. What would you label this angle right here? Maybe a straight angle. Looks like it's a straight line, 180 degrees. How about this one right here? It's kind of hard to see because it's at a different, kind of upside down. I'm thinking it's just a bit more than 90 degrees, so let's call it obtuse. It's really hard to do these without a protractor. I think this one is just a bit more as well, so let's call that one obtuse. This angle here looks like it's just a bit less than 90, so let's call that one acute. This one here is pretty obvious to me that it's not as big as 90, so I'm going to label this one acute, and this one too. I can see that it does not open wide enough to make that square angle, so we're going to label that one acute, and this one, whoa. I'm going to guess it's a right angle. Looks pretty straight up and down there, so let's see how well we did. Oops. My answers are right here. Come on. All right, so, oh good, we got the straight angle. Hey, it looks like we did really well, except this one right here. Is that a right angle? I guess. Maybe because of the angle I was looking at it, I saw acute. But this one here should be a right angle. All right, good work. Hopefully you're able to spot those. Now, sometimes you might be asked to estimate the measure of angles. And I want you, again, you can ask yourself a few questions that will help. First of all, let's look at this one right here. If I look at this, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself, is it acute or is it obtuse? Okay, it's acute. It's definitely less than 90 degrees. And I kind of want to imagine where 90 degrees would be. If I imagine what 90 degrees would look like next to this, okay, I can use this to kind of estimate how far along, how close to 90 does it get. It's almost like halfway between. Well, I know that half of 90 is 45 degrees, so it's pretty close to that, I think. Maybe it's a little farther than that. So I might estimate, what do you think? 48 degrees, 50 degrees, 49 degrees. Okay, so that I think that was any of those would make a good estimate. What do you think it would be? Okay, well let's check. It was 47 degrees, so great estimating on our part. Now here, let's take a look at this angle. It is obtuse. Okay, I can see that it is obtuse. So I know it's going to be more than 90. And again, I want to kind of visualize where would 90 be. Think about where would a straight line be and how close are we to each side. Here's a straight line, that's 180. Looks like we're more than halfway from 90 to 180. I'm going to maybe guess like 160 degrees. So let's check and see what that answer will be. Oh, it was a little too high, looks like 147 degrees, but still not a real bad estimate. Now, here's a picture of your math template. I want to point out a few a few features on this template that you are going to be getting very familiar with. Now this is the same template that you had in 4th grade. You've got an inch ruler along the left side. Along the right side you have a centimeters ruler, and there are pattern block figures on here. They're marked with PB. Okay, we'll be talking about pattern blocks coming up in the next couple of days. And we also have other shapes here that are on here. There's lots of triangles, and notice they're labeled triangle 1, triangle 2, triangle 3, triangle 4. Okay, and these are going to all come in handy at different times. There's squares and circles of various sizes. You can use these to draw figures nice and quickly. And then you've got 3 kind of measuring tools on here, 3 other measuring tools on here for angles or circles. This one here, you'll notice has percent signs by it. This is your percent circle. Now we're not going to be using this to measure angles. A percent circle is used if you need to make a circle graph. So for now, we're not going to be using this percent circle, but we will use it later in the year. Down here, right next to each other, you have 2 different kinds of protractors. You have a half circle protractor, which is right here, and this is the one that is most often used, and then you have a full circle protractor right here. We use full circle protractors mainly if we need to measure a reflex angle, because those go beyond 180 degrees, and so a full circle is needed. Most of the time we'll be using this half circle protractor. And you used a half circle protractor in 4th grade, so you just want to make sure that there's some really important things you want to be sure of. Okay, first of all, the most important thing is when you start to line it up, make sure you position the protractor correctly. You want to make sure that you've got your vertex right at the center line, and you want to make sure that you've got your one side of your angle lined up along the 0 line. The second thing you want to do is always make sure that you are reading up from the 0. Okay, so if your line is along here on the 0, I need to start at 0 and read up from the 0. Whether I'm on this side or if I start on this side, I'm starting at the 0 and I'm reading it up this way. Read the protractor, okay, and that helps you determine if you start at 0, you know which set of numbers to use.